It's a brand new season. It's the 2023 Cape Cod Baseball League playoffs. Game 1, round 1 of the West Division playoffs as the Bourne Braves and the Kettleers are set to do battle in the first matchup of this West Division first round. Alongside Joe Pratt and Lily Butler, I'm Tyler Danberg, welcoming you into the Kettleers starting 9 on the Cats Digital Network. And Joe, Kettleers winning the President's Trophy, first time since 2012 they had the most points in the league. What stood out to you in the first 44 games of this season?
I'll go back to what I said before the first game of the season, defense. They had one of the bottom teams in the league last year in defense, plenty of errors, and I think that kind of got to them when the baseball really became important, and that's when the playoffs started. And they only played one round. That was against Hyannis, 3 games, but I think defense this year, second best in the league. They did such a nice job despite all of the turnover and how many different faces we saw in the field for the Kettleers defensively. That was great, and I just saw a great improvement from last year to this year in defense especially.
And of course, these are the top 2 defensive teams in the league. Bourne at number 1 and Kettleers right on their heels at number 2. Lily, your impressions of the regular season?
Well, I'm going to touch on something Joe kind of mentioned and something you and I had talked about just before this, and that is the team chemistry that's maintained so well throughout a season of lots of turnover and a very fluid roster. And the guys have just done an outstanding job of maintaining continuity and just playing really well together no matter who's on the lineup that day.
Well, you guys have been mentioning turnover. There have been 71 players that have played for the Kettleers in either the exhibition or the regular season, which is just incredible to see them stay in that stranglehold of first place against a really good rest of that West Division. So let's look at this pitching matchup, and we've got a good one. We've got a 2-time Cape League All-Star in Bryce Cunningham going for Bourne, and of course, Cameron Hill. What's more to be said about him?
Not more than you can say about him in one sentence. I mean, you can just say so much about what he has meant to this team beginning in the year as a reliever, going back to that first inning that he pitched against his former team, Martha's Vineyard Sharks, 3 up, 3 down, 3 strikeouts. Ever since then, he has been phenomenal for Kettleers across plenty of his starts, transitioning nicely into that starting role, starting in the All-Star game for the West, and now what better time for him to make the start tonight here against Bourne, a team that he hasn't met this year as a starter.
Yeah, of course, his debut was against Bourne. He threw 2/3 of an inning as a reliever. Now, Lily, Bryce Cunningham out of Vanderbilt, he's going to go for Bourne, and they're going to go for some experience. Scott Landers will, and Bryce Cunningham going to make his 6th start of the season.
Well, yeah, like you mentioned earlier, 2-time All-Star Bryce Cunningham. So it's going to be a great matchup on the mound tonight. And pitching is going to be a very, very important factor in tonight's game. Throwing strikes, going to be important. Has been important all season, but especially here entering playoffs.
So, Lily, I'll keep it with you looking at the Bourne Braves. A player in this series to keep your eye on, who would it be?
Well, I'm going to go with Derek Bender, who's going to be catching for the Braves tonight. He's been outstanding throughout the season, and he's going to be a key player in this series for the Braves.
Let's carry on with the 4th place Braves, a player in this series to watch for you.
Another All-Star, Bryce Evelyn, one of the only position player that was on the Braves team last year that went on to win the championship, and he just so happened to win the MVP for the playoffs last year for the Braves as well. So needless to say, he's going to play a massive factor in this series.
I'll go with another second-year Brave who helped the Bravos win that Cape League Championship last year. Josh Kuroda-Grauer out of Rutgers. He drove in a run in every single playoff game the Braves played in last year. Now, Joe, back to you. Kettleers, a player in this series against the Braves that you're looking forward to watching.
Going with more experience, Trotter Harlan was a part of this team last year when they made that playoff run against Hyannis. He went 3 for 10 in that series, hit the ball pretty well, and in his return, that's been something that's been consistent since making his return for his second year. So Trotter Harlan, my player to watch.
It's going to be interesting to watch Trotter go out at second base where he will start today. Bullpen is going to be another interesting quality that both these teams have. I'll go with Rob Hughes as my player in this series to watch. A pair of saves this year, one before leaving ahead of the draft, then coming back for the Kettleers. He got that save against Brewster earlier this week. Lily, I'll turn it over to you for your player to watch for the Kettleers.
I'm going to go with Trevor Haskins, sort of a recent addition to the roster, but he, ever since showing up to Kettleers, has just been doing great defensively and at the plate, and I think he's going to be a very reliable guy at the plate for the Kets this season, or this postseason, and a guy coming from Stanford, so he's got some experience in some of those more stressful baseball situations.
And another guy who's been reliable all season long, Coleman Mathis. The two-way player to the College of Charleston joined Lily, and here's what he has to say on the Kettleers starting 9.
Alongside first baseman Coleman Mathis. Cole, you're a guy that's been here since just about the beginning. Do you feel a sense of leadership heading into the postseason?
Maybe not leadership, just maybe like just somebody that the guys look towards, especially since the whole summer it's kind of played everybody, all the players around the league. It's just fun to be here from start to end, so I'm just looking forward to getting this thing finished.
And you were just earlier this week given Kettleers' MVP title after a season where you had 11 home runs, 42 RBIs, and impressive stuff on the mound as well. What does that mean to you, and how rewarding is that?
Yeah, it's really rewarding. It kind of means a lot just because it's from the team that everybody else believes they deserve it too. So this means a lot, especially from the teammates.
And speaking of teammates, you've gotten the chance to play with a lot of your College of Charleston teammates here on the camp this summer. How's that been, just having those guys here?
Yeah, it brings a sense of home. Just here, it gets a long summer, so just seeing familiar faces really just keeps you going day by day.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck tonight. Now back to the Kettleers starting 9.
That was Kettleers first baseman Coleman Mathis, who talked to Lily Butler, and thank you to Cole. He was given the honor for Kettleers' most valuable player earlier this week, and he's going to be leading things off for Kettleers as they take on Bourne for the 7th time this summer and the first in this postseason. Game 1 coming up next on the Kettleers Digital Network. You've been watching the Kettleers starting 9.